Hi and welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to take you on a garden tour during the month of May, and you can see what's in flower as we're getting into the late part of our spring. I'm going to start this garden tour at this border, and what's been amazing through the last couple of weeks has been this Californian lilac. This has been humming with bees, so many bees. It's been a beautiful sight to see. Just the one addition plant that we planted not that long ago has created such an impact for the wildlife, and the bees have absolutely loved this. And you can just see that I've just got a couple of canes in the back, because what I'm wanting to do, I've actually purchased, it's not come yet, it's ordered, a actual frame, which is like a flat frame, which will make it so I can try and grow it as like a vertical wall, because it has the tendency to want to flap over, but what I want to do with it is kind of grow it more vertically. So I've just put the canes in place for the time being, but when that does arrive I'll be placing that there and training it upwards, because it'll give us a little bit more privacy on this side as well, because it is quite open on this part of the fence, and it'll just give us that vertical wall. Right here now we've got a little bee trying to get into the Alchemilla mollis. It's not quite open yet, but these nice tight buds are showing so much promise, and I think he's waiting for them to open. You might have to come back in a few days, bee. We divided this in the early part of spring, and you can now see that all these 3 pieces that were in the garden that we first planted are now starting to clump up together and produce a nice clump. We've had some beautiful flowers of the Primula Miller's Crimson, so this is still in flower at the moment. And we're hopefully going to be getting some more of these to go around the pond area, because these candelabra primulas are just so beautiful for that kind of pond setting. So we'll be putting some more in just out behind where the camera is. We've had the Primula viris, that's now starting to go a little bit over. Again, a brilliant source of nectar for the early pollinators. This flowers quite early in the spring, so that's been beautiful. And the buddleia, which we pruned in spring, is now growing nice and upright, and lots of nice sturdy growth on there. So we're looking forward to that, and all the butterflies that will encourage. And then just on this other side we have some more Primula. This one is Bulliana, so this is the orange on this side. That's doing really well. And we've got the beautiful Phlox David, which is growing really strong, and that will produce lots and lots of fragrant white flowers during the summer months. And then just behind that, in that lovely container, is the Erigurum Carvinskianus. So you can see that lovely daisy flower. They're taking over that pot now, so that's wonderful. You'll also notice they've got the tulips in these pots for the time being. I'm waiting for all of this foliage to die back, and then these will be lifted and dried and then replanted. So these are going to be replanted in the autumn. Normally we do throw away our tulips after they've flowered, but these particular types, they should be more perennial. So I'm going to take them out of the pot, dry them off, and then replant them during the autumn. And then when I do that, it should be in time for planting our summer bedding out, which will be probably our cosmos in these 2 pots, either side of the steps going to the summer house. Just on the decking, you can obviously see we have some more Erigurum in this lovely container here. So that's a nice display. A lot of these pots are a bit out of sync at the moment, because we are in a bit of a flux with the garden and where things are going to go. But for the time being, we're just kind of ploughing away, and excuse the mess as we go along. We did buy some bare root astrantias. So this one is Astrantia Roma, and this one now is starting to have its flowers on. There's 3 of those, and they're going to be planted in the new border adjacent to the bigger border that we've already planted. We've got some Stachys, which is one called Summer Grapes. Again, these were bare root, so these are starting to come up beautifully. And then just here we have our beautiful strawberries, our alpine strawberries, and you can just see, oh, that's a funny shape, that one. They don't normally round like that. Lovely round shape, that one. So juicy. Absolutely wonderful. And it's nice just to come and just pick a few as they become ripe and enjoy them straight from the garden. And then the good thing about these is these will continue to flower and produce strawberries all through the summer. And once you've finished with the first flush, give everything a really cut back, give it a feed with something like tomato fertiliser, and that will then just encourage another flush of flowers and some more fruit to enjoy. So they're beautiful. We have them on both sides of the summer house. We do need to replace the one on this side because the pot has broken, so we are going to get another pot and replace the strawberries in there. In this perennial border we have some really good things going on. We've got the beautiful Pennstemon garnet, which is now starting to produce its flowers. That's going to be a flush with beautiful flowers, lovely red colour. They're doing really well. On this side we have the lovely Eryngium planum, so a lovely tall sea holly that will grow quite tall. And just towards the back we have the Perovskia, which is coming up quite nicely. Some more of the Phlox David to mimic the one on the other side of the border over there. The beautiful Rebecca Diamii, which is just coming up through here, so lots and lots of clumps. Last year we did have so much trouble with slugs, and this year is completely the opposite. We don't have anything that's been eaten whatsoever, and touch wood, it continues that way. Because we've had such lovely weather, we've had dry evenings, we've been switching the watering regime to a morning, so before work, so that it has a chance to dry out by the time the evening comes and the slugs are on the patrols. So it has really made a difference. It just goes to show that when you have a really wet spring, your garden can be affected, but then it rejuvenates itself the following year and it can be a completely different story. And this time it's been a success one. So these are doing really well. Just behind me there we have this beautiful yellow geum. I'm not sure what the name is because this one came from a supermarket without a name on it, but it does have these beautiful lovely flowers. It's just so cheery, just really cheers you up just looking at them. So beautiful. We have the lovely Aquiledias towards the back. They're just going over now, so they're forming the seed pods, and I do think the seed pods are just as attractive as what the flowers are. They're so beautiful. They give you another dimension in the border. We have the Persicaria amplexicaulis firetail growing really well there, and if you remember I did cut that back in the spring and give it a bit of a trim, so it's not going to be as encroaching this part of the border as what it was last year. So we do have those pieces to plant in the other bed that we're going to be planting up soon. Scabiosa, we have Kudo White here, and it's just showing now with the lovely flowers about to start on there, so that's going to be lovely. That's going to be a really good attractant to all the pollinators and just give us something that kind of goes a little bit over these lovely rocks. We have the first flowers of the Lichnus coronaria, so these beautiful pink magenta flowers which are beautiful. Now they're really good at attracting the butterflies, and if you come out at night time you generally see the moths going towards these ones. They're a really good nocturnal pollinator plant for the moths. Lovely geranium roseanne, not quite in flower yet but there are buds on it. So this is the one that I've left in the border. The other ones I'll show you in a little minute because they've been split from the front one, the front garden plant. They're doing really, really well. We still have some Lichnus coronaria seedlings which I do need to move because they're going to get a bit swamped by all this foliage, so I do need to get onto that. We do have some Stachys homolo which is in the middle here, so that's doing really well. The beautiful Crocosmia lucifer, which is that lovely sword like foliage towards the back, that's doing really well as well. Veronicastrum has become like a beast this year. There's so many different flower spikes on there, and this particular one's called Fascination. And then just at the very, very back there's the big tall Eupatorium. Again, last year we had so much problem with the slugs. This year the only thing we've had trouble with is the dry weather. This is a plant that does like to be in a bit more of a moisture retentive soil. This one does sulk a little bit when you get very, very dry weather. It does require some watering, so it will tell you when it needs it. It will start to droop, so that's really good. It does give you that indication. Moving along, we've had an addition put in here. So this is Euphorbia Ascot Rainbow. Now if you remember, this was in our long narrow border before it got moved into the main border that we've just recreated. Now this is a beautiful plant, but in its place before this we had an Apeta, and we did grab by the grandiflora type, which is meant to be less resistant to cats wanting to nibble it. But unfortunately, it's come up this year and the cats have been all over it, and it's just not been able to get even up through the ground particularly well. So we've decided to discard that, give up on Nepeta. Sometimes the garden tells you what is best to grow, and sometimes if you've got neighbouring cats, we want to encourage the cats in. We don't want to discourage them. We do enjoy seeing them in the garden, and if you grow in plants that they're just going to nibble and they're just going to get nowhere, sometimes it's best just to say, right, well, we won't grow that anymore. So instead we've put this euphorbia. This was looking for a home anyway, and the place became available, so in it pops. So I think it brings a nice dimension to this part of the border, and ties in a bit more of the yellow with the yellow of the geum further along. We've added this one here. We've got this, I think it was B&Q, and it was half price. So this is Armeria Ballerina Red. The foliage on this one is quite different to the Armeria Maritima, which is more like a grassy kind of foliage. It's more fleshy, more leaf-like. So I'm not sure how this is going to fare with the slugs, but I thought I'd give it a try. It does bring some beautiful, lovely red flowers here, lovely pom-pom flowers, and I think it does contrast well with the foliage of the lovely Prunus nigra. So some of this lower foliage, it does look quite nice. It's one of these plants that likes to be in free draining soil, so a rockery type plant, but I'm going to try it here. It's not a rockery, but I do think it will look really nice, and hopefully the slugs will leave it alone. We have the Allium sphericaphalon, lovely buds starting to come there. So that is the drumstick allium. They're doing really well. There's a few clumps of them dotted around. And then we have the Sedum matrona, so this is doing really well as well. This one won't flower until the late summer, early autumn time. But at the moment we're just getting this lovely foliage. It's lovely just to feel it. It's got like a waxy, lovely feel to it. Very, very tactile. And sometimes you get the water from the rain just kind of collecting in little pools. So that's quite nice. They glisten. A bit like with the Alchemilla mollis. It just kind of collects, and it's just like little jewels that are just there to look at. Really, 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 really attractive. And then the star of this border at the moment is this beautiful poppy. And I'll just try and pull it so you can see it. Beautiful poppy. How beautiful is that? Now these don't last very long. You usually get maybe a couple of days if you're lucky. If we don't have high wind, maybe a little bit more. But they are so, so beautiful. And this one is Beauty of Livermere, so it's quite a tall one. It was quite small when we first bought it, and every year we kind of get a bit more height on it, but I just think it was beautiful, and particularly beautiful with the foliage of this Prunus nigra as well. Absolutely smashing. And the bees are going to absolutely adore this. It's a really beautiful plant. At this end of the border we have that lovely combination of the beautiful Geranium Ibericum mixed with the lovely Geum Totally Tangerine, and I think it's such a lovely mix. It's not completely awash with flowers yet, but you can already see the beautiful contrast with those lovely colours together. It's one of my favourite geraniums, this one. It doesn't repeat flower, so once it's finished, give it a chop back and you'll get fresh foliage, but you won't get any more flowers, but that will just give you some additional ground cover. Quite nice furry leaves as well, so it's quite nice and tactile. At the back we have our Lichnus Chalcedonica. So this is going to grow hopefully a bit taller than last year. Last year it didn't grow very tall, but it will get more height the more years go by. It's a bit of a unique colour in terms of red, but it is a very, very lovely plant, and again it has lots of tiny little flowers that the bees and the butterflies can really enjoy. More like a flat plane, so it's a really beautiful, worthwhile plant. Again, I think that was divided last year, so we've got a few more clumps in this area, and they're coming up nice. It does sometimes need a bit of support as well. Sometimes if we get a lot of heavy rain and wind, it has a tendency to flop over, so it's better to get some support in there early on to make sure that doesn't happen. And then moving on to our strawberries. Now this year, because we've moved this from the other side of the garden, which does get a little bit more shade than this bit, we have had so much more success with this. The actual strawberries, every single plant is just laden with strawberries. It's just beautiful. We're getting lots of runners as well, so we can make more new plants with those. So it does make a difference where you do position these. These do love to have full sun. Although it was quite sunny on the other side, it's just not as sunny as this side of the garden. So it has really, really appreciated that move. This is not a permanent move, unfortunately, because this is still our veg bed, and we do plan to have tomatoes in here. We are, unfortunately, quite late with our sweet peas, and unfortunately we did miss the boat on sowing them. So we're going to have to purchase some sweet peas from somewhere and place them in our usual way in the tall containers and let them grow up through the fence. I have put another structure up so that the wires can help to train them upwards. But there are plants in this vegetable bed which do need to be moved to the new bed behind where the camera is. Another geum which is in a container is this beautiful red one. And we had this planted last year, and it just flowered for ages and ages. I'm not quite sure what the variety was. Again, this was one of those supermarket ones. It could be Mrs. Bradshaw, I'm not sure. But it is so beautiful. Very tall, upright stems. And it is in this lovely container at the moment, so I'm not sure if we're going to keep it in that for the time being. Because we've changed the garden so much, we've lost a lot of path and areas where we used to be able to put containers. So it might end up going in the front garden, or it might end up going into a border. We're not quite sure yet, but it does look so beautiful. And at the moment it's like a centerpiece. Lovely flowers, lovely red flowers. And again, the bees are, there's one there now, coming to have a look at it and get a nice feed. So that's doing really well. And then just over to the main border, I want to show you what's been going on here. Since planting this border, it is really now starting to take off. We've already got this lovely geum. So this is one called Geum Princess Juliana, and this is a lovely bright orange. So it's a little bit different from the totally tangerine. This is very, very vivid, and I think the totally tangerine is a bit more muted. Very, very bright, this one, and looks beautiful, particularly at the front of the borders. We've almost got in flower, the buds are here now, is the Salvia caradonna, and the contrast between that beautiful purple and the lovely orange, I think it's going to be really, really nice. And we've also got flowers on the lovely sorbus tree as well, so that's doing really, really well. We do have some climbers to add to the fences. So we have a lovely rose. This particular one is called Dortmund, and this has lovely red flowers with a white centre, and this will have beautiful orange hips. So it's one of these roses that we're going to leave it to go over. We're not going to bother too much about trying to deadhead it, because it's going to be towards the back of the border on the fence, and the main thing is we want to grow it for the hips. The hips are going to be really, really beautiful. That's going to go on one of the fence panels. And the second one is Tracheospernum jasminoides. Now this has the most delicious scent. If you want a climber for scent, this is absolutely divine. And this is going to grow on the other panel. So we've got all the frames up ready for this to grow. And when we've got the seating area completed, we'll be able to sit here and enjoy all of these beautiful fragrant blooms. The last thing I want to show you is this new border. So this is going to be another perennial border, and you can see we've got the edging already in place. All the grass has now been taken up, and this will go all the way into where the pond area is going to be. So quite a long, deep border. Not as deep as the one on the opposite side, but still lots and lots of planting potential. We do have all the plants going into this border along the path areas there, so hopefully there'll be enough space for them all. And this will go into where the pond's going to be. The pond's going to go there, and there will be some planting going around the pond as well. And then obviously, you know, there's going to be the decking area, which is going to go out to where these sticks are. And these are the geranium roseanne, which I divided not that long ago. Already they've got new foliage, and the flowers will follow. So I'm going to end the tour there. Thanks very much for watching. I know you're used to seeing Andrew do these tours with so much enthusiasm, and I hope I've been able to try and emulate that same enthusiasm for this tour that I've done today. Thank you so much for all the good get well wishes that you've sent. Andrew has appreciated them. He is on the road to recovery, but just not well enough to do any presenting just yet. So thank you so much again for watching. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you do have any comments, drop them in the comments box below the video. We will see you very, very soon on the next video. In the meantime, please do take care and happy gardening.